Hey, this is Gerd Handel, and welcome to the Inner Light Project. This show is for anyone who's wanting to lead a happier, healthier, and enlightened life. Create more self-love, inject more joy and abundance into their daily life. Join me for inspiring interviews and spiritual topics so you can shine your inner light. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Inner Light Project. My name is Gerd Handel and today I want to share with you someone who is weaving ceremonies for women to come back home to themselves. Now I'm so excited to talk about this today because more than ever before, women are rising up into their medicine. Women are rising up more into being their true selves. Women are coming back home to their ancestral medicine and wisdom. And Alex is just an amazing soul, and I can't wait to share what we're going to share today. Alex Hughes is a ceremonial guide, trained priestess, spiritual healer, and water keeper. She's a founder of Connect Ada and is devoted to holding spaces where women remember their power and reconnect with the earth. She believes we can all come back home to our remembrance and reconnection to our ancestral medicine. Hi Alex, I'm so grateful to have you on the show and thank you for joining us today.
Oh, Gerds, this is such an honor and pleasure and delight to hang out with you again, albeit not in person.
Bless you. Yeah, I love,
Thank you.
you're so welcome. I love how we met and our conversation and the first conversation we had in this group. And it was just, I get you, but I don't know why I get you, but I really understand who you are and the work you're doing. And I remember us both saying it to each other, but like, how do we know that?
Well, Gerds, to be fair, you get a lot of things that a lot of people don't get.
I still don't understand it myself, but hey, it is what it is.
It's your magic, baby.
Bless you. Thank you. Well, I am so grateful to have you on the show, and I would just love to share what your life was like before you became a ceremonial guide.
Yes. What was my life like? It was very different. Well, I mean, as with any woman, one goes through phases, but I like to call myself today a recovering type a recovering overfunctioner. That's a new thing. I was very, as a child, how far back do you want to go?
As far as you want to go, I'm all
Far
ears.
back. I mean, so one of the big it's a trauma and also a gift for me was my father leaving when I was 6. And so at that point in time, my mother was pregnant. And at that point in time, I became a perfect no needs child. And I think I became, and this is very much aligned with the heroine's journey, which is a book by a woman whose name I forget, and my excuse is perimenopause. Actually, that can't be excuse. I have terrible memory anyway. But that, we're in this society that really values the masculine, and for many, well, girls and boys, we kind of take on this truth that to be masculine will lead to success. And so as a very young child, it wasn't only that or as I grew up anyway, I chose to become very masculine or to take on very masculine energy. And that included, like I said, not really having any emotional needs from a very young age, becoming quite a perfectionist. And so I went through the early years of my life, and by that I mean kind of my teenage years and my early adulthood, very type A. I got through university, high school, university, very good marks, very focused, very dedicated, got the scholarships, ended up in England to do my master's, and was really on this trajectory in the world of international development as a professional to save the world. And I cannot say that I was particularly connected to my spirituality for a very long time. In fact, I would, if I had to time it, though now when I look back, I see it kind of as a gradual, meander towards a spiritual awakening. If I had to put like a date to it, it would be 2020. Like, welcome to the club, right? But I think that before that, I was very much in in my conditioning, there was a point in time after I met my soon-to-be ex-husband that I fell back into my feminine, but it was a toxic feminine that I fell back into. Again, the conditioning piece, right? So I had been this masculine, very driven, very ambitious. And then when my body decided, because it was a bit of an unconscious choice, to have children, I fell into my feminine and I chose a very masculine man who would, and he did this very, very well, who would support me and provide
Mm.
for me. And and so then I stepped into motherhood, but I wasn't able to hold both of the energies in a healthy way. And society, like the patriarchy, doesn't allow us to really. So I then went from this very kind of driven type A into a stay-at-home mom who was always trying to build her business on the side, but really
Mm.
priority was my children. And I do not have any regrets,
Yeah.
but it was very, very difficult. It was an uphill battle. The emotional load and other domestic loads were on me.
Yeah.
And I think that it was only when the children became a little bit older, when they didn't need you quite so much and space opened up and COVID came along,
Oh.
I awoke I found myself doing very, very strange things.
Okay.
So I would, well, what was, it felt like it's really interesting, I use the word strange, but in in one respect it felt different because I hadn't done it before, but in another respect, my body was very familiar with these things. So, for example, I began following the moon. I
Mm.
began following my cycle.
Mm.
I began building fires in our garden. We were living in Brazil at the time. Yes, I began building bonfires in the garden and dancing around them. I began playing with the herbs in the garden. I had no clue what I was doing, and making concoctions and doing. And then I realized, and I have a very sort of well, it's not even a love-hate relationship, but paradoxical relationship with social media. But thanks to social media at that time, I realized that this was sort of, and the algorithm, this was happening to a lot of women who are reconnecting with
Mm.
nature and their nature.
Mm.
And so at that stage, I adopted um, the word witch because I started to feel like maybe what I was doing. It's like the action came before the word, and I'm a word person, but I wanted to figure out what was going on, like what was
Mm.
happening to me. And so I went to an astrologist, I went to a hypnotist, and those kinds, that's sort of what I've already gotten to the bridge part of your question, right? Like that's what brought me over to this other version of myself. And of course, now I'm in perimenopause and like
Mm.
stepping into what some might call the sage years or the maven years. Um, and so I can look back and see all these sort of breadcrumbs along the way that led me to this place and recognize that actually, as a child, my mother and my grandmother, both of Quechua lineage, so indigenous,
Oh.
were teaching me through like seemingly superficial superstitions
Oh my
and
God.
practices these pieces of ancient wisdom. And so when I
Mm.
started to study my astrological chart and go to astrologists, and when I went into, I thought it was a normal hypnotist, but of course it wasn't. She studied beyond quantum healing and used hypnosis as a modality. And so I was going into like past lives and, recognizing early experiences in my life. I discovered that actually everything that I had learned, everything that I had gone through was leading me to this particular point in time. And this included things like, the indigenous teachings around reverence towards the Pachamama, our great mother. or, carrying particular seeds in your purse that would bring about abundance, right? Like just small little rituals like that. Um, my grandmother was a great soup maker. She was a fantastic cook anyway, but a great soup maker. And I recently, through like an ancestral communion, discovered that the medicine I offer is water medicine. And so concoctions and soups, like are a way of me to nourish not only myself, but others. And I have always been drawn to these things. And so, like, it's just interesting at my age when you look back and you see how everything makes sense. I studied environmental studies. Of course I did. I studied international development and looked at things from a gendered angle. Of course I did. Like, it just all makes sense. And
Yeah.
even as a mom, I translated the struggles that I had as a mom into coaching circles for mothers, um, to help them support their emotional regulation, because that's what I needed. We teach what we need.
Yeah.
And so those circles gradually evolved into ceremony.
Wow.
So like it just all makes sense now. It's interesting.
I was about to say that's amazing. And I love like you never lost your spirituality. It was about coming back home to self. And, we know it as a child, but we can't explain it. And people around us are doing things, but we don't get it. But when we have that awakening back home to ourselves, then it all makes sense. Like, I know you were saying about motherhood earlier, but I'm like, motherhood is the biggest gift. There's things there that we learn at that time. I know I'm not a mum at the moment, but I kind of did look after some people growing up. So I played a little bit of that role and I've played a bit of a role as a mum, kind of people around my whole life. But that is the biggest gift because you also learn to hold boundaries and also how you're giving your power away. And also, you're at a time, like, I know we're at like different ages, but if you look at the time of history, for example, I'm going to go back to when you were saying about being in the masculine. I grew up in the masculine energy because my mum lived in the masculine energy. She was in the shoulder pads era, the 1980s, get shit done, think like a man, act like a man, don't think like a woman. Ugh, yuck, right? They were all living that and then they were burning out and we were just following that pattern. It's only the millennials that have started to realize that this is not right. And it's only in the last like 5 or 6 years we're like, why are we burning out? Why are we tired? Why are we not letting ourselves be in the feminine? So I'm not surprised that everyone before that has been the way we have been because we've been taught for so long to be in the patriarchy without realizing it. And so you having that moment, being at home, was like making you realize I am powerful, but how do I bring that out into the world? And you needed that space to create that as well. Even when I was sick, I was doing things that I couldn't explain, Alex. Like, oh my God, I was like burning letters. I was doing random things. My neighbor across was looking over, like, what the heck is this woman doing? I like during COVID, I planted loads of fruits and vegetables and they were growing huge and people were like, how are you doing that? It's because it's in my ancestral lineage. I have never learned from my dad. My dad's family are farmers. My mom's side are farmers from generations back. How the hell did I know how to grow all these things? I was just doing it. But the medicine has always been there, but it's having that space to hear the calling. I think that's the biggest gift.
Yes. Yes. And what granted me that gift and what I like to think my work today does for women is offering that space through the awareness and practice of cyclical living.
I love that.
Because we're all in hustle and we've all just been so busy with the shoulder pads on, you know, just
Yuck,
terrible
right?
shoulder
I know.
pads.
And do you know the fashion with
Like
the shoulder?
just right? Like no, go, 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 no stop. And it's been so, you get into this hamster wheel automatic sort of form of being and you just become completely unaware. And it is very much neck up.
Yeah, yeah. And we're so disconnected with our bodies. Like I remember if you were, dancing in a particular way, you were seen as slutty or like full of yourself or vulgar. But actually, dancing is so powerful. It's in all of our ancestral lineages, right? But it's sacred dances and sacred ways of being. But again, it was shunned down by some little sad little guy, right? Who obviously got scared of us. And so I think all of us started to like commune with our body and listen, and that's when the deepest work began. That's when we started to trust our gifts. Like, I think all of us have been hiding in our spiritual closets because we were so afraid what people would think, but actually, we never had to care what people think because the communities would come anyway. Everyone has been craving this, but none of us knew how to come together because, before women would come together as a council or a community, but suddenly all of that was stripped away, right? So I feel like a lot of us were afraid to voice what we were doing until we started
Hmm.
having conversations
Hmm.
going, well, I do this. And they're like, oh, well, I want to learn more about that. And it's like, oh, I'm finally being heard. I'm finally being seen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And like the communal way of living was replaced by a very individualistic mindset,
Mm.
and also this nuclear family. And the nuclear family is such a perfect unit of production for this capitalist system because you've got, that in the traditional 1950s version, and in many ways, even working mothers aspire to be that perfect 1950s. I think that's shifting now, but like, the woman is the producer of the next generation, and the man is, of course, we're talking heterosis, right? And the man is the producer of capital, right? So, and one supports the other because you produce capital, you need another generation to produce the next, like, generation of capital or the next generation of children. So it becomes what is the word? Self-supporting. That's not the word, but anyway, I'll use it. So I think that, and then we're all living in our homes so busy producing what we need to be producing that we don't end up talking to each other. And that's why there's so much power in coming together as women, in our circles, right? In our ceremonies, because then we can see, oh, you're going through the same shit that I'm going through. Oh my God, this is a collective issue. This isn't about me, right?
Yeah.
And I think that we have all just, I can't say like I mean, I try to stay away from generalizations, but I think that there is now an increase in the number of women who are actually experiencing this,
Oh,
and that
100%.
the power is just on the rise. It's so exciting.
Oh, 100%. I call my rebirth started when I was in 2012. And when I started the journey and where I am right now, I have seen the shift of women. A lot of them were like, what are you doing? Oh, that's strange. But like now they're like, yeah, I want to learn more. And when I look at kind of like our mothers and our great grandmothers, like they were so powerful, but they had to shut it down. At one point they were so powerful, then they had kids, and then suddenly they forgot about their identity. But also, they were actually handing it down to their daughters without us realizing. They were secretly telling things, but not telling us too much, but like implying, this is what you need, but I'm not going to tell you why, but just take it. So it's already like they were doing the work to where we are right now, where the patriarchy is finally collapsing and the matriarchy is finally coming back. I think every generation had a role to play to get us to where we are right now.
Hmm.
And we've
Hmm.
been slowly doing this work behind the scenes. And I feel a lot of empaths, highly sensitive people, have been hiding behind the scenes because how do you show up in a world that doesn't understand these gifts? Right? And now
Absolutely.
it's coming out. Now it's like, hey, I'm ready. Let's go. Like I think I posted the
Hmm.
other day, like, empaths, we're ready for you now. Like being a highly sensitive person myself, I'm like, it's time now. It's time for us to shine. We've been working so hard behind the scenes to build what we're doing that it's time now to show the world how to live in a more community-based world, an abundant world where we can all like win. We can all grow together. We don't need that segregation anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what's like when I think about the lessons that our mothers pass us on, because not all of us have fantastic
Yeah,
relationships with our mothers, and there's a lot of resentment sometimes around the way they have told us, to stay small or to stay.
yeah.
But we must remember that there's always been sort of. It seems to, I mean, it's taken a long time. I think we can fairly say it's taken a long time, like and we're right on the edge of environmental collapse, but that there's been this balance of keeping us safe while always having these, again, like sort of sprinkled pieces of wisdom. And some more than others, but I think about the interview that we were just making reference to, Margaret's interview. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes, Margaret.
Yeah, Margaret's interview about like the Virgin Mary and the work around her, the historical findings around her with feminist historians and around Mary Magdalene as well. And isn't it interesting that these scriptures or these books weren't destroyed,
Mm.
but they were buried, right?
Mm.
And so, like, I mean, goddess culture couldn't have been completely buried because it was so prevalent and so strong. And in many ways, the what my friend Kiki, who is the founder of Which School Canada, calls it is churchianity. Churchianity simply built on top of existing structures and tried to suppress and hide and bury it down. But you cannot bury something that is so true, right?
It's in the DNA. They can't
It's
take it
in
out of
it.
us.
You can't take it out. And so now I think all that's happening is that it's rising again, and those little pieces that we have been that our mothers and our grandmothers have shared with us, or that is in our DNA, are coming to life again.
Yeah, yeah. And I wanted to just go back to something you're saying about mothers. Not everyone had great mothers. That is 100% true. It's more about like it's when you kind of take yourself out of the situation, you kind of see their wounded feminine and their healthy feminine. And a lot of us did see the wounded side, but again, they were secretly giving information, even if they were still wounded in that feminine, without us understanding it sometimes. Like I look back and I'm like, okay, that makes sense now. Here's something you need. I'm not going to explain, but take it. But then the other side would be so different. But I feel like it's understanding the healthy masculine, the toxic masculine, again, the healthy feminine, the toxic feminine. And a lot of us didn't grow up seeing that. We just heard masculine, feminine, that's it. And so when we start to understand what our own woundings are as well, I think that's when we not only set ourselves free, we set our past free, like our mothers and our grandmothers and all the toxicity that they had to go through because they were hiding their gifts or, society shamed them or culture shamed them or their ancestors shamed them. I think sometimes we take it personal and, obviously we're going to take it personal because it's our family. But when you take a step back and you see actually a lot of it is nothing to do with us, it's generational wounding, right?
Absolutely.
And when we clear that, then we get the channel quicker for the medicine,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's,
Yes. There's so much power in the ancestral healing piece.
yeah, yeah.
So much power because, like you said, it clears that channel. I love the way you've explained that.
Thank you. But it's just so interesting, isn't it? How like you ended up where you are right now. I've ended up where I am right now. And then here we are, we meet at this retreat, and it's just women coming together, sharing their medicine. Like, that's when I realized, like, crap, like, I have been manifesting this. And I think I mentioned it in our group through my clients without realizing this. Like, I would guide them on a meditation where they're in a circle, a council of women, but I didn't realize I was secretly like manifesting this. And I think it's just not me. There's so many other women in the world that have been manifesting these sister circles, these communities for years. And it's now that it's shining through.
Absolutely. It's the medicine. It's the medicine. And even though we live in a patriarchy and men have been so entitled and life has been in so many ways, in some ways, easier for them, I would never exchange it for
Yeah.
being a woman ever
Yeah.
because I don't do well with loneliness. And I think that women are good at hanging out together. And like at it, like I also don't do well with superficiality. So we are good at like coming together and and getting into it. Not everybody, again, I'm generalizing, but I feel so sad for the men who are lonely and don't feel safe enough in themselves, and patriarchy has not done them any favors to open themselves and be vulnerable and create these connections and relationships with other men, and often also with their partners.
Oh, 100%. I've had friends who their husbands are saying in front of me, like, I'm craving like connection with like other men and having deep conversations, but nobody has like come together. Or I have seen some people over the years like build small communities online, but there's a long way to go. And I think when the patriarchy collapses and the matriarchy comes through, because matriarchy isn't just about women, it's about men as well, being in their communities, in their circles, then I think we're going to see a shift in how men are showing up in the world and being in the world and supporting each other.
Yes, 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 I agree completely,
Yeah.
completely. And that's the only way it will work, really.
Yeah, yeah. And you can see it though, because like I don't know if you've noticed the younger generation there is a lot more softening than how we were raised. There's a lot of they're quite intuitive, I find the younger generation. They pick up things a lot more quicker than what we did growing up.
Oh, my kids are blowing me away. They are blowing me away. I have a 21-year-old daughter, an 18-year-old boy, and a 15-year-old boy. And my daughter is a house on fire. She is like her standards are way up here and she will not settle. She's gorgeous, she's
Oh.
sensual, she's smart, she's ambitious. She's got this beautiful balance. And she doesn't put up with any shit.
I
And
love it.
and like as again, like another recovering aspect, the recovering good girl, right? The
Yeah,
recovery, well, maybe not good girl, but nice girl, right? Like
yeah,
I am the daughter of diplomats. I learned how
yeah,
to, get along with everybody. And I think there is a skill to that. Like everybody deserves respect.
yeah.
Um, but not at the not
The
like
detriment of your
one
own.
mustn't sacrifice who one is in their wholeness, right?
Yeah,
In
yeah,
order to get along with somebody else. But so that boldness, that unapologetic, this is who I am. I'm so proud of her. And my
mm,
boy, my 18-year-old, he's just like he sent me an astrology app. He treats his girlfriend like a queen. It's just he's such an emotionally intelligent, kind, self-knowing, self-reflective young man.
yeah.
And it gives me so much hope. It gives me
Hmm.
so much hope for that next generation because they will be our leaders.
Yeah, yeah. And you can see it, this that they really are tuned in with their sensitivity, whereas we were told to stay away from our sensitivity. They're really embracing it. And that is a gift itself to be able to say, I don't care what society thinks, this is me, like it or lump it. I'm gonna show up the
Hmm.
way I am. And I love
Hmm.
it. And I just see the whole society in general just shifting because they have obviously felt the work that we've been doing as well. And so they can feel it even more. And I think that they will change the way we are in society in general. But I think we need to learn
Absolutely.
from them too, versus them learning from us as well, because they teach us a lot
Oh,
without us realizing it.
well, this is another thing about matriarchy. It's not this hierarchical, authoritarian, the person at the top knows best.
Yeah.
We have reciprocal learning that goes around. We're relational. Our children are our greatest teachers,
Mm.
our elders and our children, right?
Mm.
So there's just, I absolutely agree with that. And it's all about like being open to the learning and moving the ego out of the way. And the other thing I think that's happening right now that we've both alluded to is this rejection of just being production units or being like these
Oh,
mechanistic, like production units, these machines. Like, no, we have hearts. We have hearts. We're human and we're not here to just do, and make all the time.
yeah. Yeah.
So I
100%.
think and that's a real shift in values, and that's a
Mm.
real and when have a shift in values, you have a shift in culture.
Oh, 100%. When I first started the journalism world, it feels so weird saying it now, but I was told you need to toughen up to survive in this industry. So what did I do? Put on this shield and acted like I had no emotions. I was mean. I like look back and like, oh, I don't like that version of me. But it was like I was very cutthroat because that's what I was told to do. And I think a lot of us as women were taught in order to succeed, we need to be this way. But actually, we didn't. We needed to be that softness. We needed to be that gentleness because actually, that's who we are. But society couldn't accept it back then. When I look at it, they cared so much about being a man. When I look at it, it sounds really yucky when I think about it. Why would you want a woman to be a man? That makes no sense.
Yeah, or a woman to be in their toxic masculine because that was how they would succeed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Oh,
know, and I think that like now the exploration of the archetypes and that moving away from that sort of two-way, you're either a whore or you're a virgin, right? And so like moving into all these archetypes that allow us to be strong and
mm.
soft at the same time.
But have you noticed, and I find this very strange, I felt like we were working away from this. And then there's a little bit of like the Gen Z that have started to bring this up again about women's bodies and how many women like they sleep, women sleep with how many guys and all this stuff. This kind of sexism, misogyny has started to rise up again. And I don't know where it's come from, but I feel like we've worked so hard against it. But recently I've seen it come back, like, the Andrew Tates of the world. Like, I think that is like they know the patriarchy is going to end and they're scared of it. That's what I'm picking up right now as I'm talking to you.
I heard somebody say this is like the last toddler, the patriarchy's last toddler tantrum.
Where?
Yeah, and so we have all these toddlers who are like gripping at it.
Yeah.
And you know, I say toddlers, and it's not all men.
Yeah.
We see what's happening in the United States
Oh my
and
God.
people in women's bodies who are gripping onto it and supporting it. And so change is a scary thing.
Yeah.
Change is a scary thing, but also these systems have benefited some and they
Mm.
don't want to let that go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So I want to talk about your work. So you went away and kind of like discovered yourself. Then you started, slowly dancing around the fires and building communities. So can you tell us, like, how did you birth the 13 Moons membership?
Mm. Yeah, so the 13 Moons membership was originally called the Witch Hunt Collective. And so Witch Hunt is the name of my podcast. It's now dormant. I mean, it's not, I mean, it's accessible, but it's not, there aren't any airings anymore. So when I started to identify as a witch, it was 2020, and I was living in Brazil, and it was we had to leave because it was a 4-year posting. And so the story of Witch Hunt is that when we moved from Brazil to Toronto, where we are now, I we stopped in Barcelona. It's a little bit. I mean, while our stuff was being shipped, we stayed at my ex's homeland for the summer. And so I remember specifically sitting on the beach in the Mediterranean, communing with Aphrodite, and actually mourning Brazil, mourning the time that I was able to spend communing with Iemanjá. So I was sitting on the beach and I heard this voice. And I literally, like your listener, some of your viewers can see me, but your listeners won't be able to see me. But I literally like looked over my shoulders because the voice was so clear. And the voice said, "You will do a podcast and it will be called Witch Hunt." And so I did. It took me months and a nervous breakdown in between because this was such a massive step in visibility, like for one to claim that word
Yeah.
and then one to tell the world that
Yeah.
that was the word that they were claiming and that the podcast was going to be called Witch Hunt, like of all things. But it
Mm.
was a witch hunt. The idea behind Witch Hunt was to illuminate the lives of women who were beginning to, or had for some time, identified with that word or with the word priestess, and who were on this spiritual journey and who had felt like they had to be closeted about it. Right. So it was about bringing them into the light. And so, after a few seasons and episodes of Witch Hunt, I decided that I wanted to bring women together who felt like either they felt inspired by these women or they identified with these women. And I called that the Witch Hunt Collective. And the Witch Hunt Collective met on the new moons and on the full moons online to really honor the energy of what was going on. And so over time, that became 13 Moons. It became an annual membership where women gather under the new moon or the dark moon, depending on the timing, and my intuitive pull towards what is needed. Dark moons are about rest and rejuvenation. New moons are more about intention setting. And the full moon. And we would also gather 4 times a year for a sacred feminine ceremony under the equinoxes and under the solstices. And now I'm really excited because 13 Moons has like 2.0 coming on, and we are adding to it some sharing circles, so coaching circles. And I have created a back-end membership site where people can access all the recordings and the replay along with, I don't call them master classes anymore, Gord's, I call them mistress classes.
Oh,
So there's a workshop called Alchemy in there, and there's a mistress class on the dark feminine. And so as I continue to create content, I will be offering it in the membership. And so it's really becoming something that I'm so excited about and also so timely because I think that women, again, we talked about the power of slowing down. We talked about the power of aligning ourselves with the energy outside and how that supports us to have the space,
oh,
right,
I
that
love
we
that.
need in order to listen. And also the whole sisterhood aspect.
Yeah, I love it because it's when you come together, we can be present, right? And so a group of sisterhoods coming together, we become present. And I was just there was something that just popped into my head as you were saying this. The reason why so many women don't know how to be in these circles, but they are coming close to it, is because women have been multitasking for generations. So when have they ever had that time to sit and be still and then be around a group of sisterhood? And that's what you're doing. You're bringing that last piece in where it's like, okay, I don't need to be like this anymore. Let's come here together. I will hold your hand and I will show you the way. I love it. That is powerful. I can feel it. As you were talking about it, I could feel the energy of the work. It's very powerful. You are that remembrance person. That's what I feel.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for you to, and you said to me about my journey coming home to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't need a lot to come home to ourselves. We need space,
Yeah.
presence, and support, right?
Mm.
And that's what 13 Moons offers. It offers that space. And the women tell me, I am so glad. First of all, like they're really excited about what is the simplest thing, which is a subscription calendar. You just click on the subscription and then those dates are popped into your Google Calendar. And that makes it easy because the space becomes this sacred boundaried space that they do not override. And so the space is so key in a world that really asks us to just keep going and going and going.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the work that you're doing because we need that in the world. And if anyone's listening right now who would love to join, where can they find you?
Okay, so Conectada is the name of my business, Conectada. It obviously means connected in Portuguese and in Spanish. .ca, conectada.ca, and then slash 13 moons. It's easy to find. It's open, the doors open around the equinoxes and the solstices, but you can sign up to the wait list and get 10% off if you're on the wait list. So it's always worthwhile signing up to the wait list.
I will add that in the show notes as well. So we will make that
Thank you,
happen.
love.
You're welcome.
Thank
I love it.
you.
I have a few more questions I for you. What are your five top tips for someone who wants to come back home to themselves, but they don't know where to start? Obviously, one is joining the school.
I think, and whether or not you choose to join 13 Moons, I feel like beginning to monitor, if you're still bleeding, to begin to monitor your cycle, to really tune into where your energy levels are at. We have to remember that the 7-day week and the Gregorian calendar are patriarchal time management systems. They were not designed for women, right? We
Mm.
follow a 28-day energetic cycle. That is very much like the moon's cycle. And so our hormones and makeup when we are bleeding follows that. And so I would invite a very first step would be to begin to just notice when you're tired, when you're excited, when you feel social, because you will notice that there are those 4 phases and you will feel like doing different things during those 4 phases and you'll be
hormonally optimized to do those things. So if you want to go on a podcast or a date or have a dinner party, do it when you're ovulating. You know, if you want to do some analysis, do it when you're menstruating. So
Mm.
there's, and I have a download on my website. I'll just plug it now because it's the easiest and free way to learn how to do this. If you just go to my website, which is conectada.ca, and you just hang around, it'll pop up and you can download the cycle.
Mm.
A guide to cyclical living. It's super simple. So I think that that is a first thing. I think that then following the moon, honoring the seasons as well, will not, and again, it's those same four phases, but like, when do you feel like decluttering? It's probably in the fall and in the spring, right? When do you feel like hibernating? It's probably in the winter. Again, same with the new moon. When do you feel like starting something new? It's probably around the new moon. So like
Mm.
you just kind of tune into one, your body, two, where the earth is at, three, the moon. So it allows you to really reclaim your connection to yourself
Mm.
and to the earth. And then I think another thing is if you want to take it like to a next level, I don't know what number we're at, girls, but to the to a next
Think we're
level,
full.
possibly far, then I would invite sacred feminine ceremony in because that's when you really step into like an energetic portal. I mean, you know all about this, right? You step into like an earthly energetic portal. I work with the solstices and the equinoxes, but there are astrological portals going on all the time. Today is one of them. And really, the way I like to work is somatic. So do and I use ritual and like somatic work to release what is being called to go, right? Like what you know is no longer working for you. You can burn, you can rip things up and throw them down the toilet. Like after you've journaled it, you can shake things off. You can do some rage dancing. You could even, have a bath and just imagine like it's so much about your imagination and visualization. Just imagine the water taking everything that you don't need and whispering to it to like take it away, right? To cleanse you. So there's so many different elements that you can work with and rituals you can work with. And once you've done that, like the next arc of the ceremony is to really rest, connect with yourself. I and you also, I know, are very much into like connecting with your ancestral wisdom, right? And listening and tuning in to the wisdom that's to come as you step into that next version of yourself. And then what I think is really important is embodying that next version of yourself through dance. And we talked about dance, but like when is a woman most free and powerful? It's when she's dancing as if no one is watching her. And so in my ceremonies, we have like these dance parties, and they're intuitive led dance parties. And I would encourage you to, once you've like shed the shit and you have rested and you've connected, put on your favorite, like lift me up music and step into that version of yourself that the next season is calling for.
Mm. I love these tips. Thank you so much. Wow. I love the bit. Like, I feel like I want to dance. So
Yeah, I
let's get our
know,
outfits
right?
on and like, woo.
I know. And I know people, so there are people who say, well, I can't dance. I don't know how to dance. I do believe it's in our DNA. I do. Every culture in the world,
100%. And we just
right?
have to, but it's the groundingness of the feet. Like you've got to sway with your body, listen to it. And then I think too many times we think of dancing as like what we grew up, watching and listening to. That's kind of dancing, but real dancing, the dancing is very different, isn't it? The
Absolutely.
ancestral medicine.
Yes. Yeah.
That is
It's like
it.
it's like body, it's like led from the innards, right? As opposed to
Yeah,
doing it for the external eye.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the more we embrace that, the more freer we become.
Absolutely. And so much more in touch with our sensuality and our sexuality,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
which is a great source of power.
Oh, so much power. We just don't know it sometimes.
I know. I
Yeah.
know.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll have to talk more about this another time because honestly, there is so much more I know we could share. But what are you most grateful for?
Ugh, I don't even know how to answer that. I'm grateful for so many things. I'm grateful for life, like this gift and opportunity to be here. And even though it's the hardest time to, well, I don't even want to say it's the hardest time to be on earth, but it's not an easy time to be on earth. I'm grateful that we're on it right now. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm so grateful for my kids. Oh my God, they're like the biggest gift for me. I'm grateful for my sisters.
Oh, that's
Yes. I'm grateful to be able to do the work that I do. Oh my God. And for my
oh,
like husband that has made it all possible. Yeah. So I'm just grateful for all the things.
I love that. What shines
I
your
don't know
inner
how to say one thing, girls. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Sometimes, like 1, 10, 100, it's all good. It's what you feel in the moment. I think gratitude is so different at different times. And sometimes we wake up with one gratitude, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 100. But, today's such a powerful day. So I'm not surprised you're like, I'm grateful for these things.
Today is such a powerful day. I'm grateful
Yeah.
for today.
Yeah. Me too. And the last one I want to ask you is what shines your inner light?
Oh, it's the ancestral baton. It's the ancestral baton. Yeah. It's that I feel like particularly from my maternal lineage. I really feel and I hear the message like I feel that baton being passed on. And sometimes it's like, get out of your own way and get your act together. And sometimes it's like, you are doing such an amazing job. I think that's really what um, brings on the shine. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alex, for doing the work that you do and helping so many women come back home to themselves and trust the wisdom from within.
Oh, thank you, Gers. And thank you for helping the work to shine. I really appreciate that. And for the work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, bless you. Wow. I don't
I
even know
love.
where this conversation went.
There's this beautiful ray of light coming
Oh,
down.
I can see
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I don't know. I guess it's from the light. I don't know,
It's
but
from the
there's something.
light, but I'll take it.
Yeah, take it. Take it.
Wow, what an amazing episode with Alex. It's so interesting how we as women have come so far, but also where we are right now in the world and how the matriarchal system is rising and the patriarchy is shifting. Now, if you want to learn more about Alex, do visit her website. Everything is in the show notes below. And just trust that everything is happening for your highest wisdom right now. It might not make sense at the moment, but everything is aligning to your greatest good. Unfortunately, that's the end of the show. Before I leave, I want to leave you with this quote. It's time to heal the wound of separation from the earth that lives in our lineages. That's a quote by Sacred Ancestry. And remember, stay happy, stay healthy, stay lit.